I think the game's changing a lot. I think the way I learned to play golf is not the way people learn today. I'm learning new things about how to play on tour, how to kind of survive on tour, keep pace with this new generation, or try to at least.
Adam Scott didn't just make an announcement, he dropped a bomb on the golf world. What he revealed is poised to change everything about his career and the future of the sport. Insiders are whispering, fans are spiraling, and the entire tour is desperate to know what Scott is truly planning next. Entering 2025, Scott carried the strange electricity of a man standing on the edge of something unprecedented, not decline, not retirement, but a pivot the golf world couldn't quite decode. At 44, he moved through tournaments with a calm that felt less like serenity and more like someone rehearsing a plan he hadn't yet announced. Fans noticed the patterns: a trimmed schedule, sharper focus, deliberate discussions about balance, and subtle shifts in play that some players observed in birdies. His travel rhythm softened, his family presence intensified, and his committee work with the tour became heavier and more deliberate. Something was clearly shifting, and while no one knew exactly what he was building, it was obvious that a major change was coming.
Yeah, this is an event I look forward to every year. It's one of my favorite golf courses on tour. It's one of the best events that we play in every year. The event that I tell all my friends outside of the majors, obviously, I think they should all come and experience it. I think it's a great atmosphere to play in. It's a great atmosphere for people to watch, so it's a real buzz to be here.
Insiders whispered that Adam Scott looked less like a veteran coasting toward a sunset, and more like a strategist tightening the final bolts of a long-game blueprint. He wasn't stepping away from competition, he was recalibrating it. Equipment reps mentioned secret prototype tests. Committee members hinted at unusually fiery governance debates. And even his swing, quieter yet more precise, carried the aura of a man preparing for a new arena rather than an exit. The golf world sensed the rumble before the quake, and the hints only sharpened. Scott appeared in meetings aging players usually avoided, skipped events they usually clung to, and spoke about sustainability, legacy, and time management with the subtlety of someone smuggling a confession between the lines. Commentators tried to label it as late-career pragmatism, but the energy around him said otherwise. This wasn't a fade, it was a build. After months of speculation, coded interviews, and late-night rumor storms, the truth finally surfaced. Scott wasn't slowing down. He was rerouting, aligning himself with the rising TGL era, not as a ceremonial veteran, but as a foundational force, committing fully to the league's 2026 launch in a role insiders quietly described as transformational. The move wasn't a gentle shift into the background, it was a calculated leap into golf's technological frontier, supported by Tiger Woods himself. Suddenly, everything clicked. The schedule changes, the strategic calm, the sharpened governance footprint. Scott wasn't inching toward the end, he was architecting his next beginning. The US Open illustrated this duality perfectly. He entered Oakmont with the calm of a seasoned warrior, scorched a 67 midweek, and stirred murmurs about a man plotting one last grand assault, only for a bogey on the 72nd hole to deny him a playoff, a cruel punctuation mark laden with symbolism. Every swing, every gesture, every decision during the week seemed strategically loaded, as though he were manufacturing a narrative. Weeks later, his influence rippled off the fairways and into the boardrooms of Golf Power, where he quietly joined Tiger Woods' future competition committee, a body that, despite its bureaucratic name, insiders say functions like the Avengers of modern golf governance, reshaping media rights, tournament schedules, player equity, travel policies, and the strategic architecture of the post-merger golf world.
Oh, look, it's the kind of course where you need a lot of things to go right to be in the mix. The penalty is extreme. I mean, I think that's a trait of Pete Dye golf courses. There's water everywhere. It's hard to recover from the water, and a couple of visits to the water during the week makes it hard playing catch up, because then you have to force it and then you have to risk, and it's there, but if you're not on it, it's hard to always post a good number here. Hard to get it in the clubhouse the last 3 holes.
Scott emerged not as a passive member, but as an intellectual force. According to insiders, he delivered what was described as a 45-minute presentation, monk-like in cadence, but fierce in content, proposing a global equity blueprint drawn from decades of jet lag, President's Cup frustrations, and quietly simmering discontent at golf's US-centric power structures. The proposal was no mere wish list. It was a manifesto masked in PowerPoint slides and strategic comm, leaving Commissioner J. Moynihan reportedly struck by revelation. Scott wasn't simply pitching ideas. He was leading, shaping a discussion toward a more sustainable, globally equitable future for elite golf. Gossip swirled. Some claimed he was laying the groundwork for his eventual exit. Others argued he was cementing long-term influence to remain central even with a lighter playing schedule. Reports surfaced of a secret dinner at Woods' Florida retreat, where the two sketched future tournament calendars on napkins, with Scott suggesting controversial ideas like neutral site majors, while Marie Scott contributed venue concepts, travel flow designs, and family-friendly infrastructure. This wasn't just business, it was deeply personal. Scott wasn't planning a career sunset. He was creating a permanent imprint. Behind every polished swing and whispered rumor, the Scott household operated like a finely tuned emotional engine. In 2025, family dynamics shifted from support system to narrative backbone, with every decision from schedules to committees to simulator leagues, tracing back to the gravitational center of Marie and their 3 children. Observers noted that Scott's poise at tournaments had deepened into something softer, steadier, almost fortified by the invisible presence of his transcontinental clan.
What is the best lesson or piece of advice you have ever received? Probably one I received early on was to learn how to manage my time the best. When you're traveling and playing golf always on the move, you really need to do that well, especially as life goes on and then the family comes into the picture. There's lots to do and not enough time.
Scott's home life, split between Switzerland's crystalline winters and the Bahamas' sunlit calm, looked idyllic from the outside, but beneath that veneer lay a choreography of chaos. Multilingual schooling, cello rehearsals echoing off mountain chalets, junior golf drills dominating patios, and FaceTime rituals meticulously sculpted around time zones. His children trained like young Phenoms Byron on cello, little Byrne recreating miniature masters moments with a broomstick putter, turning the household into a constellation, bright, scattered, and interconnected. For Scott, the stakes weren't abstract. Every missed tournament or prolonged trip risked breaching what insiders called the 3-week rule, a family pact forged through fertility struggles and jet-lagged separations. Yet this wasn't retreat, it was evolution. His committee work, TGL commitment, and equipment experimentation all pointed to a life where home wasn't a sacrifice, but an anchor. Ryder Cup drama at Bethpage Black further illustrated this recalibration. Entering as a dependable veteran, Scott emerged as a catalyst, a quiet hero. Pairing with Shane Lowry, he produced mythic moments of precision, while his broomstick putter revamped with a Swedish court grip rumored to be Marie's idea became both meme and marvel. By Sunday, he embodied calm and focus, culminating in clutch victories that reminded the golf world that greatness doesn't fade, it recalibrates.
I think the biggest hang-up is in how we see, the highest level of competitive golf going forward. The product of LIV and the product of the PGA Tour work in very different ways. So I think, the challenge is figuring out how that can come together and be really reunification, which is kind of what everyone is shooting for.
November arrived carrying the weight of tectonic change, and Scott delivered a dramatic twist. His commitment to the 2026 TGL launch was not a gentle career shift, but a deliberate leap into golf's digital futurist era. His Dubai interview, filmed amid swirling desert winds, emphasized evolution over adaptation, cementing speculation that this was a carefully orchestrated pivot. The TGL promised shorter broadcasts, primetime theatrics, and simulator battles freedom for a farther balancing cello recitals and ski weekends, and a strategic expansion of influence without sacrificing family or competitive edge. Financial rumors soon followed. Scott reportedly secured an equity stake in Jupiter Link's GC, transforming participation into both investment and power position. Allegedly dating back to a confidential 2024 Zoom with Tiger Woods, Scott had dissected team structures, simulator layouts, and virtual adaptations of iconic courses like Royal Melbourne, blending family input, particularly Marie's architectural vision, with futuristic integration. Traditionalists decried the move as sacrilege. Innovators praised it as genius. For Scott, it was optimization, a pivot that preserved legacy, family, and momentum. What began as whispers about retirement evolved into a saga of reinvention, family gravity, governance influence, and technological evolution. Adam Scott's next era won't be quieter, it will be sharper, bolder, and far more ambitious, with the most dramatic chapters still unfolding.